Today, we're going to be talking about interactive brokers, the pros and cons of the platform, the fees associated with trading using interactive brokers, and how to set up an interactive brokers account as an Irish or a European investor. Relative to other brokers we've spoken about, such as eToro, DeGiro, or Revolut, interactive brokers offers by far the most extensive suite of products and investment vehicles for a retail investor. However, it is also probably the most advanced platform that we've covered, so it might not be the perfect option for a beginner investor. But that being said, start as you mean to continue, so if you're serious about investing long term, perhaps interactive brokers might be the choice for you. If at the end of the video you decide interactive brokers is the account you want to set up, please do use our referral link, which we'll leave in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really does help us out, so we'd appreciate it. Okay, on with the video. I'm Steve, and this is the Learnings Report, a show where we make investing accessible and understandable for everyone. This week we're talking about interactive brokers and how to set up an interactive brokers account. Let's get it. Interactive Brokers is one of the largest discount brokers and is regulated by both the FCA and the SEC, which means that your money is probably as safe as it can be. Interactive Brokers is also a publicly traded company itself, meaning we have even more insights into the company's operations, its strengths and weaknesses, and its financial performance. So before we get into the account setup, let's have a quick look at the pros and cons of interactive brokers. So the biggest pros are certainly the low trading fees and the fact that interactive brokers offers fractional shares. Of all the discount brokerages that we've spoken about, interactive brokers offers the widest range of investment vehicles and products, so you can trade everything from stocks, ETFs, bonds, warrants, options, the list goes on. The user interface on both the desktop platform and the mobile platform are really intuitive and easy to use. There are also a comprehensive selection of research and analysis tools at your disposal, along with a ton of educational resources which can be accessed through what they call the Traders University. A great pro for a beginner investor is that interactive brokers offer both a demo/paper trading account where you can trade with fake money and get a feel for the platform before you commit your own funds to it. And lastly, there's no minimum deposit when funding your interactive brokers account. So the cons. Are there many cons of interactive brokers? There are a few. The main one is probably the account fee, or what some people refer to as the inactivity fee. This fee varies, and we'll talk about it in more detail shortly. Secondly, at time of recording, there is no bank card deposit to interactive brokers, so you need to link your bank directly. The third con, which may or may not be a con depending on the sort of trading you're looking for, is that they do have a desktop trading platform called the Traders Workstation. However, this is an extremely advanced interface and is probably not perfect for a beginner investor or any intermediate investor for that matter either. For those looking to invest in cryptocurrencies, we would suggest sticking to Binance or Coinbase for investing in crypto. Interactive brokers do allow you to invest in crypto through what we call ETNs. We won't be going into ETNs in this video, but just so you know, they are available, but only through that format. And lastly, although the mobile app is intuitive and easy to use, it is probably a little bit more complex than some of the other apps we might have discussed previously, so worth keeping in mind. Okay, next, let's talk about the costs and fees associated with the platform. So the fees and costs associated with using interactive brokers will vary based on what products you're trading. In the interest of time, we're only going to talk about the fees that are going to be directly associated with most users, especially those who are only starting investing. That being said, we will leave a full link to all the fees in the description below. First of all, let's take a look at the account fees. If you hold less than $2,000 in the account, your monthly account fee will be $20. If you hold more than $2,000 in the account, the monthly fee will be $10. And if you are under the age of 25, that monthly fee is only going to be $3. It is also worth noting that for the first 3 months of using the Interactive Brokers platform, these fees are waived, so it's free for the first 3 months. Next up, let's look at the trading fees. Trading US listed stocks will cost you about $1 per trade, and then trading European stocks will cost you anything between say €4 and €10 depending on the investment vehicle you're trading. Depending on the exchanges that you're purchasing shares from, you may be buying in US dollar, you may be buying in euro, or any number of other currencies. Unless you directly deposit these currencies into your Interactive Brokers account, you will have to convert the currencies once you're ready to trade. The good thing is that Interactive Brokers offer spot currency rates, which means that you basically pay the market rate for the currency transaction that you're making. You will, however, have to pay a small fee, which works out at about $2 per conversion, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty competitive when you compare it to other brokers. And then lastly, in terms of withdrawal fees, you do get one free withdrawal per month with Interactive Brokers, but you will need to pay a fee if you decide to withdraw anything over that amount. The fee for subsequent withdrawals depends on the currency and the method you use for withdrawal, We'll leave some of the currencies on screen here, but as you can see, for USD it's $10, Euro it's 8, and the rest of the list we'll link to in the description below. One small note that is probably worth mentioning for any investors who are switching from a different platform: Interactive Brokers do allow you to transfer your shares to Interactive Brokers without any additional fees. The one good thing worth mentioning though is that you will pay that $10 account fee anyway, so anything up to that amount that you accumulate in trading fees or exchange fees is already going to be covered. You only will pay anything that goes over that $10 amount. Another question we get regularly when talking about what broker to choose is: how safe is your money? As mentioned earlier, your funds with Interactive Brokers are protected under the legislation of the country you're investing from. This varies, and we won't go through all the countries in this list, but you can see here at a glance what the protection amounts are. For Irish investors, we can see that you're protected up to a value of €20,000. And one final note before we jump into the account setup: when doing your research, you may come across a platform called Interactive Brokers Lite. Unfortunately, this isn't available to Irish and European investors. We can only open an Interactive Brokers Pro account, so it is worth keeping in mind when doing your research. Okay, let's get into the account setup. Okay, so first thing you want to do is go to interactivebrokers.com and of course click Open Account and Start Application. So again, pretty standard sign up process here: username, password. So we'll skip through all this section, but again, just follow the instructions. It's pretty self-explanatory. So once you've filled in your personal details, you're going to receive a confirmation email, and you're going to just need to click on that to confirm your email address. So once you've clicked on the link in your email, you can then return to finish an application screen on Interactive Brokers, type in your username, your password, and click login. Next, you're going to be asked to select an account type. You can run through these options yourself and choose what is most appropriate to you. I would say most people watching this video will want to open an individual account, so let's go straight into that. You'll then choose your legal residence, so again, choose whatever is appropriate to you. We're going to skip on through this. Okay, on the next page you'll see an About You page, and again, pretty standard, pretty self-explanatory. Follow through each step, look at your address, your name, your mobile number, date of birth, etc, etc. Then further down you'll get asked to put in your passport information or your national identification number. In this case we're going to use a passport, your employment status, where your source of wealth is from, security questions, and then you can move on to the next screen. So for the sake of keeping this video relatively short, we're going to skip on through this and we'll see you on the next section. So once you've filled in that extensive amount of information, you will get to this following page, and if you've added your mobile number on the previous screen, you may be asked to confirm it. Feel free to do so if you so wish. You simply just put the code in that you should have received to your mobile number and carry on forward. Next step in the account setup process is configuring your trading account. So you'll have the option of doing a margin account or a cash account. If you intend to trade on margin, you can start with this. For a beginner investor, certainly not recommended, and you can always trade to a margin account further down the road. So our recommendation would be to start with the cash account. Then if you look further down, you'll be asked to fill in your income and worth. You'll be asked your investment objectives and your intended purpose of trading, trading experience and permissions, between stocks, currency, forex, etc, etc. A lot of this stuff is just for Interactive Brokers' own information and isn't massively relevant, so do fill it out as best you can, but it's not a make or break regardless. So again, for the sake of timing, we're going to skim through this pretty quickly. So just one quick note here: when it's asking for your trading experience and permissions, you can see a drop down of all the various investment products that Interactive Brokers offers. Depending on what you choose, you may get asked to answer for various questions to show what level of experience and knowledge you have for these products. If you're a beginner, you're unlikely to be familiar with most, if not all of these. So again, it's up to you, but just answer appropriately and carry on through with the process. But for the sake of this video, we're going to keep things really simple and try and keep it as basic as possible, just so that we can keep pushing on with the video. And then just to put your mind at ease, if you scroll down here, you can see that it's highlighted that you can always configure additional trading permissions after your account is approved. So again, if you want to keep things short and simple, you can skip this for now and come back to it later. So for us, we've just added in stocks. At the end of the page here, you'll see there's an account add-on thing called the Stock Yield Enhancement Program. To be perfectly honest with you, I have no idea what that is, but as with the rest of the page, it is probably something you can go back to. That being said, cannot confirm that for 100% or not, so it's up to you whether you want to do it, but to be honest, I think for the sake of this video, we're just going to leave it. So again, up to you. Okay, so on this screen, we're going to keep obviously our personal information private, but for confirm your tax residence, it's just going to give you a summary of the information that you've already added. And as you go down, you'll be asked, one, whether you have a US tax identification number. You are unlikely to have that. unless you are a US resident. And I'm pretty sure that if you are a US resident and you put in a social security number here, you might be redirected to the US version of the platform, so just keep that in mind. Again, cannot confirm that for definite, but that's my understanding of it. Then for treaty benefit qualifications, you'll see here that it's basically asking you whether your country has a dual taxation agreement with the United States. You will want to select this if your country does have a dual taxation agreement. Ireland does have an agreement with the US, and basically the important thing here is that it will reduce the amount of dividends that you'll have to pay. You'll only have to pay a 15% dividend withholding tax, whereas if we didn't have a dual taxation agreement with the US, the tax would be withheld at 30%. So again, it's in your interest to select this. So you're going to click I certify, and from the drop down, you're going to click Ireland, and you are going to carry on. If you're watching this from Europe and your country does not have a dual taxation agreement with the United States, you would simply click I do not qualify for US tax treaty benefits. And again, you're going to have to do your own research behind the scenes to see if your country has this agreement or not. As you scroll down, we're going to see the declaration of tax residency. Again, for the sake of the video, we've blurred out the personal details. When you get down to other declarations, you may or may not see these options based on what you chose on the preceding screen. But if you do see any of these, and again, you have a dual taxation agreement with any of these countries, you can certify that you are indeed a member of said country and move on through the process. So if you're an Irish investor, these do apply. So once you've filled in your information, you get down to this section at the end. What this section is essentially saying is that you are not a US person, and this is for the US tax authorities to ensure that you are not being taxed on your worldwide income. They obviously keep a tight leash on all their citizens in terms of taxation. So again, this is more for their interest than your own. So read it through, make sure you understand it, but it shouldn't really affect you. Once you're happy with what you've written, you can come further down here, get to the signature section and sign it once you're happy to do so. So once you get to this page, it's just the review and sign agreements page. This is just a full summary of all the information that you've added so far. So scan through it all, double check everything's correct, and if you are happy, jump right down to the end and you can sign it. So before you get to the application status page, you might have to wait a little while. We had quite a long loading screen and had to resubmit once or twice, but once it eventually went through, you'll arrive at this screen. And there are a couple of final steps you're going to need to do to complete your application. Funding your account, I believe this is optional. Again, they encourage you, but again, could be a marketing ploy, but we're going to fund it now in a second. If you've already confirmed your mobile number, then you're all good. You're going to need to submit a photo ID, so we're going to be uploading a passport, and then you're going to need to show proof of address, which is going to be some sort of utility bill, and again, just have that to hand also. So for now, we're just going to skip through to keep the personal details personal, and we'll jump back in just a second. So once you upload your passport, you will jump to this screen where essentially they are saying they're reviewing the documents in real time. You can watch this video of this lovely gentleman here, or you can sit tight, go make a cup of tea. But for the sake of the video, we're just going to cut this section and come back to it shortly. So on that previous screen, you can click close and the process seems to continue in the background, so you can then jump forward and put in your proof of residence. Okay, so once you've uploaded your documents, you can then either fund your account, or you can see up here that we've submitted your application for approval. Your account application is pending approval, so you're just gonna have to sit tight. And usually it takes about a day or two for them to get back to you, depending on if you've sent the correct documents or not. But yeah, roughly 2 days is how long you're gonna be waiting. Then if you so wish, you can come down here to the two-factor authentication and set that up to help your account be more secure. Again, for the sake of the video, we're not going to do it, but we would recommend doing this as a security precaution in general. Okay, last step is we're going to fund the account and show you how to do it. So once you click fund your account, you'll then be brought to this screen, and you can see here that it'll ask you how would you like to make your deposit. From this drop down, you will choose what currency you'd like to use. You'll see all the big ones: British pound, euro, United States dollar, and a couple of other European currencies. So again, choose a currency appropriate to you and then decide how you want to wire your funds. So for the sake of this example, we're going to use euro. You can come down and see that you have two options. You can use wire SEPA, or you can transfer securities. For transferring securities, that is simply referring to if you, for example, had shares or holdings that are held on a different broker, for example, I don't know, DeGiro, you can then opt for a transfer request and send the securities from one broker to another. As mentioned earlier in the pros section, Interactive Brokers fortunately do not charge for the receival of securities from another broker. It is worth noting, however, that some brokers might charge outgoing transactions. So DeGiro, for example, do charge for making transfers from their platform to another platform. So it is worth keeping that in mind, that although Interactive Brokers don't charge, the broker that you're currently with may do so. And then one final quick note, for those who want to transfer US dollars directly to Interactive Brokers, in the past I've tried to do so with Revolut and I've had some problems doing so. That being said, we haven't tried it as of recently, so things may have changed. You can fund your Interactive Brokers account using Revolut, but when I have tried it, it has only been feasible using Euro, so you can't, in my experience, send US dollars directly to Interactive Brokers. Why would you want to do this? Well, Interactive Brokers, of course, gives you the option to buy US listed shares, and you will save on the conversions fees, of course, if you can lodge US dollars direct to your platform and then, of course, make those purchases in US dollars. But if you are lodging Euro, you're first going to need to pay the conversion fee, switch it to US dollars and purchase it that way. And then, of course, when you're withdrawing those funds, you'll need to do it again. So, of course, in an ideal world, it would be ideal if we could just lodge US dollars directly. But as I said, if someone has managed this using Revolut, do let us know in the comments below, as we'd much appreciate it. Anyway, for now, we're just going to use the wire SEPA option for Euro. So you're going to hit get instructions. And what it's going to say here is it's going to give you the options to fill in your own bank details, your account number, and the account nickname that you want to associate with the account. You'll then be asked to put in a deposit amount, a quick reference in terms of basically a reference to the lodgement, and then you'll get your wire instructions from there. And essentially what Interactive Brokers will do will give you all the bank information that they need from their side, and then you'll simply set up the transaction as if you were sending money from your account to any other account regularly. So as mentioned, once you submit your own wire instructions, you'll then see all the bank details for Interactive Brokers. So what you're going to need to do is go into your app, be it Revolut, be it AIB, or whatever bank is relevant to you. And as I said, if you just want to put in the Interactive Brokers bank details and make a transfer as per normal. The most important thing that you need to remember here is that when sending your transaction, although we've got it blanked out here for the sake of hiding the personal information, down here where it says payment reference and for further credit to, you're going to have your Interactive Brokers account number on the left hand side. It's also going to be listed down here, and it's really important to copy and paste that account number from Interactive Brokers and add that as the reference number when making the transaction. So just for the sake of the example, to show you how it would work from Revolut, you would simply go to send, go to accounts, and as you can see here, I already have Interactive Brokers saved in the account section, but if you haven't, you'll just click new up in the top right corner, click add a bank recipient, and add in all the information that you would have seen on the previous screen, that Interactive Brokers info that they gave us with the bank. So add that in, and then you'll see here that you can decide, okay, how much you're going to send. For this example, we'll send 50. And then most importantly, here's where you're going to want to put in the reference number that we saw on the previous screen in terms of the Interactive Brokers account number. So once you find that number, you can then add it in and click continue, and then we'll send your funds. Then once you've clicked continue, you'll see on the review transfer page all the information that you've added so far. So you can see your reference number, the IBAN for Interactive Brokers, how much you're sending, and when the estimated time of arrival is. So again, just double check all the information is correct, especially the reference account number, and continue on from there. And cool, then you can see that the €50 has been sent to Interactive Brokers and it is due to arrive tomorrow. And that transaction should go through within 1 working day, generally speaking. As you can see here, if for any reason your application does not get approved, we will send your money back. So again, not a whole lot to worry about. So give it a day or two just to be safe, especially if it's only the first deposit that you're making. But do give them a shout via their support if you still haven't heard or seen your funds go into your account within a day or two. Cool, so once that 2-day period is passed, your documents have been received by Interactive Brokers, you funded your account, etc., etc. You'll then be able to log in and start playing around with the platform. So as mentioned in the pros and cons, if you wish to, you can log in via their paper trading account section. That's simply on the login screen. There's a little slidey menu where you can either click paper or live trading. So yeah, have a little go at that, decide how you want to play around with it. But once you're logged in, this is the first screen that you're going to see. Up here on the top, you can decide what you want to navigate to. So you can see from home, you can see various information, you can go to your watch list, you can see your various lists that you've created, you can go into a few of these. So for example, we can look at CrowdStrike. We can go into CrowdStrike. On this screen, we can see the chart, we can see the share price up here in the top left corner. Further down below, you can get a snapshot about what CrowdStrike do, a couple of the key high-level information pieces, buy, sell, some market cap information, and a couple of other relevant pieces of info. This is all pretty high level. If you have options trading enabled on your account, you can click this icon here and it'll show you where you can do all your options trading. But again, if you want to get more information on a certain holding, you can click research. And this is really where I think Interactive Brokers is especially good. You can go through the company overview and see all the various financials, news, forecast earning per shares, some analyst ratings, which can be very handy, percentage of insider ownership, some competitor info. Honestly though, the competitor info I always find is a little bit off, but again, it's useful to have it just as a guideline. You can come up and look at the company profile, what they do, some key ratios like PE ratios, price to book, price to sales, etc, etc. If you haven't watched our videos on how to analyze a stock, we'll leave a link to that up in the top right corner, and you can watch that in your own time, and that'll explain all these ratios sort of things. You can see your dividends if the company in question pay them. You can get a full breakdown of their financials via income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. You can also look at the analyst forecastings, you can look at the analyst ratings. I always find the analyst ratings page quite useful, just to give you a basic benchmark of how analysts think a stock is going to perform. So you can look at their tips ranks, you can see who's reviewed them, their price targets, and so on and so forth. And then there's some sentiment as well, where it kind of gives you a bit of feedback in terms of the news, bullish pieces of news, neutral pieces of news. At a glance, it looks like everyone's pretty either neutral or bullish on CrowdStrike, but again, if there's any sort of negative sentiment score here, it will include it. And then finally, you can come over to, once you finish looking at these tabs, you can see what else is on offer. But then once you're finished that, you can come up to the top tab and you can look at the Learn section, which is going to show you all the Traders Academy. It's going to show you all the documentation and the knowledge base that Interactive Broker supplies, and this is all free as part of your account, which is great. You can also access your reports, all of your statements, so you can see your monthly activity, you can see your tax statements and so on, and you can customize these statements to how you like. So again, really useful. And then last but not least, if you are hoping to put in a trade, you can simply click the trade button up here, or you can search for a symbol yourself. So let's look at something I've been looking up. So let's look at Talkspace, a recent SPAC. So you can do your research on Talkspace, you can look at the charts, then you can come down here, you can click buy. It will then show you, okay, your buy order. Do you want to buy a number of shares, or do you want to buy a dollar amount? If you're buying a dollar amount, you might end up buying fractional shares, which is absolutely fine, but just worth keeping in mind. Or again, you can just figure out how many shares you want to buy. So again, there's $8.37 a share. So if you put in 10 shares, you're going to be looking at a grand total of about $80. In terms of the order type, generally speaking, for most beginners and for most investors, market orders are generally your best option. We'll go into order types in a different video, but again, from a beginner standpoint, market orders 95% of the time are absolutely fine. Time and force, that's just deciding when you want your order to go through. Usually I'll set it today. You can ignore these for now, especially as a beginner. So review your order, you can then click preview. It'll show you how much you're spending for how many shares. You'll see the commission. So as mentioned earlier, you're looking at about $1 per share, $1 per trade even. It'll show you the number of shares I currently own in Talk, my account balance in terms of available funds to invest, and then once you're happy with all that, you can click transmit order. So again, it's pretty simple to put through an order, and it's pretty intuitive once you get the hang of it. Okay, so hopefully this helps you get set up with Interactive Brokers. Again, do take a day or two to make sure that all your documentation is in place and that Interactive Brokers have all the information they need. They do take a day or two to open the account, so be patient, and if you don't hear from them, you can follow up via Interactive Brokers. And if you have any questions in the meantime, make sure to hit us up in the comments below and we'd be happy to help you out. If after watching this video you do decide to open up an Interactive Brokers account, please do consider using our referral link that's in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help us out a lot, so we'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, like, subscribe, we'll see you in the next one. Interactive Brokers account, please do use...
Mike's still working, don't worry.